What's up, good people? It's your Fine Fancy homie Jay. First off, I want to say that I appreciate everybody's feedback for all my videos during the Endwalker, and I really am learning that people love like kind of like this open dialogue video, this open dialogue conversation video, because it's really helping them, and I'm so glad it is. And appreciate y'all being patient with me just talking off the cuffs because I love just talking instead of having some script that makes it sound like I'm a robot. I love just talking and sharing that knowledge. So thank you for all the kind words about how the video has been helpful for y'all. Today, and y'all know I like dropping videos on people's questions. I feel like that's the most helpful videos. And I had a lot of people ask me kind of like, how do you figure out the flow of monk? Like being a new monk or new to melee classes, like monk's playstyle's a little different than the rest of them, where like, how do I keep my damage buff up? How do I keep my dot up? Like, how do I manage all that while going into these weird rotations and these weird combos and not letting anything drop? And monk can get stressful in the sense that like monk doesn't follow the traditional, like, here is the rotation, just do this over and over until things die. Because you have to be able to be a little flexible with your rotation. Because normally, let's say Dragoon, it follows a very strict 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rotation, and you start over from 1, and then you go all the way into 6, and you go back to 1, and you go all the way back to 6, and that's just how it flows. With monk, because I have monk's abilities are set up, it allows you to intertwine different abilities rather than following a strict 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can go, 1, 2, 6, or or 4, 5, 3, or 1, 2, or 4, 2, 6. Right. So like there's ways you can mix it up, and sometimes and it is necessary to do that as you get better at monk. And that one, be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take muscle memory to get it down. But today, this video I think will be helpful and kind of like explaining like how you should think through your monk rotation. So first off, so we know, or if we don't know, boot shine and dragon kick have the same fighting stance, which is your oppo stance, right? So that means that at any point in time, you can choose to use boot shine or you can choose to use dragon kick. Same thing for True Strike and Twin Snakes. This is also why I have my hotbar set up the way I do. So I know like they are the same abilities, like they bounce off each other. So True Strike and Twin Snakes are the same raptor form, and they can be used intertwined at any point in time. You can choose use Twin Snakes or you can choose use True Strike. Last thing is also for Snap Punch and Demolish. They're the same coral form where you can choose to use Snap Punch or you can choose to use Demolish. So at any point in time in monk, you have the choice to pick which ability that you want to use. Right? You'll still follow a 1, 2, 3 flow, but the 1, 2, 3 looks different depending on what you need in the moment. And as a monk, I'm gonna lean back for a second just because we're chilling before I go into a detail. Before I give an example. As a monk, the questions you want to ask yourself, there's 3 important questions and this is kind of how you're gonna follow the structure of monk. The first question is, do I have my Layden's fist up? Which comes from your dragon kick, right? A formless dragon kick will give you the Layden bonus. What the Layden bonus is it increases your damage on your boot shine an extra 100, which your boot shine is Layden's boot shine is your strongest normal ability outside your master blitz. So the first question is, do I have my Layden's bonus up? Do I see it here? If yes, if I have my Layden's bonus up, then I want to use boot shine. If my Layden bonus is not up, I want to use dragon kick. And this will make more sense when we flow into a combo. But this is kind of like how you want to start thinking about like, how do I start mixing these buttons up, right? So that's the first question. The second question, and we're gonna go to the second with our raptor form. So that's our oppo question. Do we have our Ladens up? If our Ladens is up, we want to use boot shine in our oppo form. If we don't have Ladens up or Ladens, if we don't have it up, if we don't have it up, we want to use dragon kick so we can get it back, so we can use boot shot next time. The second question we want to ask yourself in our rotation is that we're going to go to our raptor form. Our raptor form revolves around True Strike, and Twin Snakes. Twin Snakes gives us our damage buff for 15 seconds. It gives us that extra 15% damage So we want to make sure that our discipline fist effect, which is what our damage buff is called, is always activated as long as possible. That's the one thing, like, you don't want to let it drop if you can help it. There's some situation where you just need to get up out of there and just activate it once you get back. But most of the time, you want to try to lead as up as possible. So the second question is, when we get to our second part of our rotation, is my damage buff active? If yes, I'm gonna use True Strike. If my damage buff is below 7 to 6%, then down to like 7-6%, because we want to make sure we give ourselves time to be able to activate that. We don't want to run it too tight. Then we want to use Twin Snakes to reactivate or reapply that damage buff. And that's how you will go about picking your Raptor ability. This comes with just time, so don't feel like, I know this sounds like a lot of information, but it's going to come with time, I promise. You're going to get really good at it. The last one is our coral rotation, and that's between our snap punch and our demolish. And so demolish gives us our dot, our damage over time. Our damage over time lasts 18 seconds. It does a 70 potency every tick, which means every 3 seconds it does 70 damage, and it's gonna last 18 seconds. So because of that, the question then becomes, for coral is my dot activated? Is yes, then we'll do snap punch, because snap punch does the most damage out of the two abilities. Just like Twin Snakes and True Strike does the most damage. That's why if your damage buff is up, you want to use True Strike, because you'll get the maximum damage out of your combo with True Strike. But you need to make sure that your buff is up. Just so when we're at core, we're asking the same stuff with demolish. Is our dot activated? If yes, we want to use snap punch, because snap punch is the strongest ability out of the two, and we don't want to just spam demolish or spam Twin Snakes, because you're gonna be losing damage, right? And as monks, we want to be punching things as hard as we can. So if the dot is activated, then we use snap punch. And if the dot is not activated, we use demolish to reapply the dot. And that's the 3 questions you want to ask yourself as a monk in your rotation. Is my latest activated? Depending on the answer, it tells you which one to use. Is my damage buff activated? Depending on the answer, it'll tell you which one to use for your second button. Is my dot activated? Depending on that answer, tell you which one to use for your third one. And it's a constant, like, looking at those 3 things tells you how your rotation flows. I want to try to apply it to a real situation so you can see, like, my thought process and how to apply these questions. First, I'm going to go off really slow, so things are going to drop a lot faster. But then I will try to do a full rotation and show you, like, my quick think process of, okay, how do I keep these combos going? So let's go on a basic slow situation first. So we go in, we're applying our Dragon Kit, which gives us our latents. Our Twin Snakes, which gives us our damage buff, and our demolish, which gives our dot, right? So then, since we have this latents, we can go straight into boot shine, right? Our damage buff is still up, so we're gonna go into True Strike. Our dot is still up, so we go into snap punch, right? So now we don't have a latents. That tells me I need a Dragon Kick on this form. We don't have our damage buff, which tells me I need to Twin Snakes on this form, and we don't have our dot over time, so we need to demolish on this form. Right, so this is kind of like this on simple terms, how we're doing it. Okay, we have a latents, we use that. Our damage buff is about to drop, so on this time, we're actually going to use Twin Snakes. Our demolish is still up, so we're going to use our snap punch. We don't have a latent, so I need to use Dragon Kick here. Our damage buff is still up, so I need to use Twin Snake, True Strike here. And our dot has fallen off, so I need to use demolish here. So on a very basic slow form, that is how you want to be thinking as monk, right? It's like, okay, I'm looking at my 3 things here, or yours might be up here wherever you have it on your HUD. I have it down here so I can see it much easier to my hotbar, so I can keep an eye on what I'm working with. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm gonna go into the 2 most common openers for monk, which is the simple opener. That's your Lunar Sonar straight into your finisher, and then I'm gonna do the optimal rotation one, which is the double solar 2-minute opener. And what I want you to do is kind of just watch how I'm pushing my buttons and be asking yourself the same questions I just talked about, because that's what I'm doing in my head as I'm asking these questions. So if you pay attention, I'll be pushing specific buttons to try to make sure I keep these timers going, right? So just So instead of me talking, I thought it'd be good if I do the rotation while you ask yourself those questions as I'm doing it. Okay, is my latence activated? Is my leadance activated? Is my damage buff activated? Is my damage over time activated? And just kind of watch how I flow through the combo based on like what's activated and what's not. My activations are here. So let's do this. I think this would be a cool way to do it, and then we'll wrap up the video to kind of just show you like my thought process why you apply those questions to it. So as always, we're gonna start off with our form shift, and then we're just gonna go into it. Need to put on our latence, damage buff, damage over time. Our latence is activated. I can go straight into a perfect balance. Activate another latence. Latence is activated. All right, I'm gonna do this. All right, what do I need? I have a latence. My damage buff has dropped. I'm adding that. My damage over time is activated. I'm adding that. I'm going to another perfect balance here. All right, I have a latence. Damage buff about to drop. Damage over time is still good. I need a latence. Damage buff is fine. Damage over time is about to drop. I have a latence. Damage buff is about to drop. So we just flowing. I'm waiting for the last rotation. I'm gonna reset all my timers for my finisher. There's a latence. Now I'm going into my finisher. And as you see, like, so that's like on the that's the straightforward rotation. As you see, like throughout the entire fight, I'm looking while I'm fighting. I'm looking at these timers to make sure like nothing dropped. I think for 1 second the damage buff dropped, but once I saw that, I modified my rotation to add that back on. And that's usually for me, in my opinion, that's the hardest part of Monk, is being able to be flexible with your rotation, because you have to be flexible with it to make sure you keep these timers up. So that'll be a simple one. All right, I'm gonna do the double solar rotation. I'm gonna try to do the double solar rotation to its fullest. I am still also trying to get it down pat, but let's look at how like that changes how I do things. So let's and remember, while I'm doing this rotation, ask yourself those questions. Is my latence up? Is my damage buff up? Is my damage over time up? And if no and yes, it tells you which buttons to use in that order. So here we go. Let's go into it. Let's see if Jay can make y'all proud here. Here we go. Double solo opener. Oh, I stepped too far away. Oh, I got it. All right. So for the next minute and a half, we're just keeping our buffs and stuff up. So this is the part where you kind of can follow a simple rotation. So with your double solar opener, you actually can follow a straightforward rotation for the most part. We already have our demolish, so we're gonna use this instead. Our damage buff up. So for now, we're just waiting for this riddle of fire to pop. That's kind of the flow here. Once this riddle of fire pops, we're gonna activate this and go into our lunar opener. All right, so I have latence. I'm gonna use that. My buff is about to drop. I'm gonna use that. My dot is fine. I'm gonna actually save that for next time. I got my damage buff up. So now my rotation has changed a little bit. I'm pushing buttons in a different order. All right. Looks like my buff is about to drop, so I need to use Twin Snakes immediately. Probably would have used it a little earlier. So now we're waiting for our last part of our optimal rotation here. So right now I'm just keeping my eyes on the timer, just trying to keep all my timers up. This one's good, so we're just gonna go here, use my latence. My damage buff is fine. My dot is fine. We're just gonna use straight through here. All right, I need to reapply my damage buff. I need to reapply my dot. All right, so my Brotherhood is about to come back up. My Riddle of Fire about to come back up, and I have double perfect balance. What I like to do is reset all of this first. So I'm going to reset every button first. We're gonna reset that. We're gonna reset this. We're gonna use latents. We're gonna go into our last perfect balance. Use Brotherhood here. I have that, so we're gonna use this, and then I'm gonna use another perfect balance. It feels so good when you can get this down, right? Well, look at that. Come on. Come on. That feels so good. All right, that's good enough. So that is like, I also wanted to show you like how the 2-minute rotation will look, like while you're optimizing. So the most important questions to ask yourself is, once again, like just a summary, because a lot of people ask this question. The most important things you need to ask yourself is my latence up? Yes or no? If my latence is up, if I have my latence activated, I'm going to use the boot sign next time I get back to my Opa rotation. If my latence is not up, I'm going to use Dragon's Kick the next time I get to my Opa rotation. And then I go straight to my Raptor rotation. Is my damage buff up? If no, use Twin Snakes. If yes, use True Strikes. Then I go to my last rotation, my last form, my core form. Is my dot up? If no, use Demolish. If yes, use Snap Punch. And that's the flow. That's the flow of like how you would think about Monk and how you want to tackle Monk in your rotation. I hope this video is super helpful and it like lays out, kind of shows you kind of like how you should be thinking about it, how you should be going about your rotation. Because as Monk, you will be modifying it. It doesn't follow a very strict rotation. If this video was helpful, leave it a like, give it a thumbs up. You know, think about subbing, all that fun stuff. Drop a comment because I try to respond to every single comment. I love talking to y'all. Love talking to the community. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video. Hope this Monk video helped explain some of those things. But as always, I love just having this conversation. So let me know. I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Happy questing. I hope that the Q times are treating you well right now and you're getting what you need to get done in your Final Fantasy journey. I'll talk to y'all later.